Hello everyone, so today I'm finally having a bit of time to continue with the series about object building for the simulation openBVE. I do apologize about the delay, but I had some health matters to deal with, and also the mentioned display saga on my website, which has finally been resolved as the display has arrived and my phone is working again. So that's sorted. Now we've got an object created of the milestone. I'll call it from this point, I guess, because the gravestone and stuff, it just doesn't sound correct. So I'm going to call it milestone from now. And we've got the model ready, but we obviously don't want it to be black, green, blue, and I think it's red on the back side. Yeah, it is. So we'll proceed with assigning the textures to the faces of the object, which is gonna be a little bit difficult maybe on the front and on the top, but it should be fairly easy on the sides for those of you who've seen the previous episodes of this series. So I suppose it's gonna be the best approach to start with the easiest thing on this. So let's go ahead and do the sides first. Here at the bottom I've got the textures that are gonna be applied on the faces. So box, that's in Czech like side, this is the front, and this is the top. As you can see, there's a lot of yellow color on the top. I'm not sure if it was painted yellow in the past, probably so for better visibility maybe. But in any case, we'll see how it looks like when we compose the textures together. If there's any problem with these edges over here, because we need it to correspond a bit with each other. If it doesn't do that, then we'll probably have to do some additional texture modifications, but we'll get to that in another video, because I suppose this one is gonna be long enough. So let's start with the easiest thing that we've got on this object. That's gonna be the side, because that's just a rectangle like hanging in there. So we're going to do the left side first, as you can see by the -0.2 on the x coordinate. So this is gonna be this side. Now we've got the face set up, we've got the vertices set up. We need to load the texture, which is fairly easy. This command has been mentioned before, and it's gonna be the side texture, which corresponds to my texture with this name over here. And obviously we're not gonna be in need of set color anymore, so I'm going to put it in the comment. That should basically erase the black color from there. It does. It's now semi-transparent, and it only shows that the face is there, but it's not modified in any way. So as you can tell, probably we need to apply this command, which is set texture coordinates. I put coordinates only, but I'll fix that real quick. And we'll have to start with the vertex number 0, which is that thing over here, because we are always starting with the left bottom corner. I mean, it's not mandatory to start with the left bottom corner. I just got used to it somehow, and I found out that it's very time saving if you do all your faces in the same manner. So if it suits you better, you can start with this one or with this one, but make sure that you follow the same order every time, because later on when you got a better texture or you need to modify something, you will know how exactly the corners go one by another, and it will make your work easier. So set texture coordinates. This is the vertex, this is the width of the texture, which is gonna be 0, because as we've said, the texture coordinates are actually slightly different to these coordinates. So texture is gonna be the width and the height. There are 2 coordinates, but unfortunately for some reason it doesn't start from the left bottom corner as you would expect. It starts from the right bottom corner. So this is width 0, height 0, this is width 0, height 1, this is width 1, height 0, and this is width 1, height 1. So in this corner over here we obviously need the left bottom corner of the texture as well. So we're gonna use 0 in width but 1 in height. Why don't I just copy it and just, let's just do it this way in the first place, and then we'll add the values in there. Need one more. Good. So we'll continue to corner number 1. Now this is gonna be this corner right here and this corner right here. So it's vertex number 1, and the texture is 0 in height, oh sorry, 0 in width and 0 in height because it's the left top corner of the texture. Now vertex number 2, that's the right corner, right top corner right here, and that's 1 in width and 0 in height because we are in this corner of the texture as well. And now vertex number 3, that's 1 in width and 1 in height. Now notice this pattern. For width it's 0 0 1 1, for height it's 1 0 0 1. As long as you do the same order of the corners, it's gonna stay the same here as well, so you can later on copy it over. Now let's save the object and see if that has applied, and it is there. As you can see, it looks slightly better than the black color, if I can say. So that's one thing. Now we need to move to the other side. See, there's still black. We can delete this node now because we don't need the black hanging in there anymore. And we can do the other side now. We can delete the set color, and like I said, as long as you program your vertices in the same order, no matter that the face is like written in the opposite way than this one compared to that one, you can still copy it over here, and the texture will actually... Oh, I didn't load the texture. Okay, that's my bad. And the texture will actually appear, and it will look correct, as you can see. Now, what you can do, if you check it here, they are both oriented the same way, which doesn't really matter because there's no way for us in the sim to see both sides, like this one and this one at the same time. I mean, it's physically not possible. You will either gonna see the left or the right of the object, because these objects are only oriented or are only located on one side of the tracks. They are not on both sides. So there's no point in us trying to modify something here. I mean, it's good to have it textured, obviously, because if we move the camera around, we're gonna see this side and stuff. But there's no need to put different texture on each of the edges. That doesn't really require anything. Now, we've got a bit of work to do here on the top. We've got many little faces in there because, like I said, when I was trying to apply or write it in one complex face, it didn't really show up correctly. So it's green for now, which we will put in the node. And one important thing comes into play now. We've got this one texture which we need to align along all these rectangles here. We'll have to do a bit of calculation. I've already calculated that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rectangles out there, with these two on the side being slightly bigger or larger than these two than these three on the top, and these two on the side obviously being the same as these ones because we have mirrored them before. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna split the texture along those faces, or we're gonna smear it if you want. Whichever expression you prefer, I guess. Obviously we need to change the load texture command because we are now loading the top command. This is this one, top texture, obviously it's this one. Now we can copy these faces over here, but we will have to do some calculations. Obviously we are going to use the width 0 to 1 because we are going from here to here. There's nothing else in front or behind, so this is gonna be 0 to 1. But we're going to split the texture in height. Now I have done I've prepared a pattern previously to make sure that we don't mess it up here. So for the first rectangle, we're going to put 0 in the bottom corner and 0.2 in height in the top corner. It is gonna work. I'll show you how later. So we're gonna use only a part of the texture on this particular rectangle. I'm gonna save it to show you how it looks like. It doesn't look very good, does it? So I must have oh yeah, sure. Yeah, that's my bad. Okay. You know what happened. Everybody who is looking at it should know what happened. I actually split it in width instead of height, so obviously that's not gonna work. So to keep the pattern, I have fixed the width, obviously that's gonna be 0 and 1, like I said previously, but we need to split the height. So we can either do this way, we can put 0 here and 0.2 here. This is gonna work. It's the direction of the descending or ascending coordinates here doesn't really matter. You can put 1, you can put 1 and 0.8 here, or you can put 0 and 0.2 here. It's gonna only flip the texture like horizontally. It doesn't really matter in the end, as you'll see. So now let's fix that fail, and we've got this here. Now you can see, now you can clearly see that we'll have to work with normals later on just to fix it a little bit, because it doesn't look very well at this point. The lightness of the faces. I mean, it could in real life it could look like that if the sun was directly above the object, which, let's be honest, it doesn't really happen, does it? So yeah, we'll have to work on it a little bit. Anyway, we can now move on to the next rectangle, and we will do the same thing. We'll just copy the faces and we'll do the same thing which we did with when we were writing the vertices. If you remember, we always used one of the vertices, or one pair of the vertices in the next rectangle. We're gonna do the same here. We're gonna use the same pair. We're gonna use one pair of the coordinates in the next face. We're gonna use 0.2 here to make sure it's connecting with the previous face, and we're gonna put 0.35 at the top. So we've got 0.2 here in height, at the bottom of the first rectangle. Sorry, at the top of the first rectangle and at the bottom of the second rectangle, to make sure the texture is applied continuously. We can now save it, and we can take a look. And as you can see, the texture actually is applied continuously with a little bit of lighting defect that we'll have to correct later. But yeah, what I want to show basically is that we can only go ahead and copy paste these things over here without any big fuss, you know. We're not gonna. If we do it like carefully, we're not really gonna sweat or anything, because it's easy. It's just copy pasting. Having the pattern clearly helps here. We just need to be prepared. And work our way through the coordinates to make sure the texture is applied continuously and it looks like reasonable. But that's pretty much it. I mean, it's not a rocket science. So now we need 0.45, 0.55, 0.55, 0.65, 0.80, and 1. Yeah, so it should work. Let's finish the thing here. Show you one more. So that's 0.45, 0.55. I'm actually dividing these height according to the size of the rectangles. I mean, these two are bigger clearly than this one, for example. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Now I'm gonna say we've got another one completed, and this is how we'll finish it. So I mean, this is the way we'll finish this one. It's not really difficult. It's just when you get used to it, you will actually see it automatically when you create something new. But yeah, it might not be easy the first time. That's why I'm showing it here. Okay, now we're gonna do this one. It's gonna be 0.65, 0.8, because that one is larger. Right. Okay, and now the last one. That's gonna be 0.8, 1. So we use the whole texture in the end. Okay, there we go. So we've got the sides and the top of the object textured now. Now the thing I'm a little bit afraid of is how the front is going to connect with that. So it is obvious we'll have to do some calculation, because we want to use the whole thing, the whole texture. But we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 things, 7 positions at the top, and we will need to deal with that carefully. And also we'll have to do some calculations for the height of the texture, because as you can see, we've got the peak over here that's gonna be 1.0 in height, but these things over here, they're gonna be like slightly, they are not gonna use the whole height of the texture, because it would be distorted, which is not something we want. We want the texture to look smooth on the object. So let's now put this into nodes. Set color blue. Let's do the front face first. We can still take this thing, the set texture coordinate 0.4. We can still take the texture coordinates for vertex 0, because that's still gonna be 0 and 1. We're still at the bottom, so that's not gonna change. We're also gonna need to use the correct texture, so that's gonna be the front in check. Okay, that's that. And now this is where the calculations come into play, because the second vertex is over here. It's in height 0.6 out of 0.69. We can actually what we can actually do is we can calculate the percentage. So if we do 0.6 slash 0.69, it's 87%. So that is something we will need to use in the height coordinate. So that will be 0.87, and it's gonna be for vertex number 1. The width will be 0, because obviously we're still here at the left side of the object. But we have to use the percentage for the height, because we don't want the whole texture to be used here. The texture is not seamless, so we cannot repeat it. I'll get to seamless textures probably some other day, but for now let's just stick with this. So we've got 0.87 if we round it up, because it's 0.869, so we can do 0.87. And that's our first coordinate calculated here. Now we'll move to vertex number 2. This is where it becomes a little bit more fun, because now we have to count the percentage for the height, but also for the width. If you see, well, clearly you do, we are moving to the right now, so we are not at the left edge anymore, and we have to calculate the width percentage. So let's start with what we already know. We are now in height 0.65. It's this vertex right here, just to make it more clear. So we do 0.65 slash 0.69, and we've got 94%. So this is 0.94. Now the total width of the object is 0.4, which is minus 0.2 with minus 0.2. If you put it along x-axis, it's 40 centimeters. So the entire width of the object is 0.4. Now this is not gonna help us pretty much. We have to double everything now. So we need to just to make it more clear, because if we can calculate it like minus 0.5 towards minus 0.2. We can do this. You can do these things. We can do this thing 0.15 slash 0.2. We've got 75% of the texture. I mean, it's not really. It doesn't seem correct to me. I mean, it's not 1/4 of the width of the object, is it? So what we have to do is 0.15 slash 0.4. It doesn't seem correct either. Okay, there's something going on here. Okay, so I'll find out where I was making the mistake. It didn't really take me too long, but still I didn't want to put it in the video. So the correct calculation for this coordinate is we have to take the shift. So that's 5 centimeters. It's going to be 12 centimeters here, 17 centimeters, and we obviously have to divide it by the width of the whole object. I'll show it on one example. So in the third corner or third vertex, which is right here, we are moving by 5 centimeters. So that's 0.05. And the total width of the object is 0.4, and this is the coordinate we need to use for the width, so that's 0.125. Alright, took a little bit more time than I was expecting, but we're moving on to vertex number 3. Obviously there's gonna be a calculation for the height again. We are now at 0.68. I mean, it's probably gonna be like 99%, but still, let's show it. It's actually 0.985. I'll put it in there like that to keep the continuity. And for the width, we have to take it's this one, so 0.12, 12/0.4, and that's 0.3 in the result for the width. So good, that one is sorted, so that's vertex number 3. Good, we'll move on to vertex number 4. Now I'm gonna do the calculations, and if it fails in the end, I'm gonna be really embarrassed. But we'll see about that. So this is gonna be 1 because we are already at this vertex right here. It's the 5th vertex, but obviously since we start with 0, it's like index number 4. So there's gonna be 1 in there, and let's calculate 17, 0.17/0.4. That is 0.425. 0.425. Good. Now this is 23 already. Okay. Good. So we're getting in there. So that's vertex with index number 5. We're still at 1 in the height because it's 0.69 in the height. And we will now go ahead and do 0.7. Sorry, it's not 17. It's 0.23 because we moved by 23 centimeters already. 0.23, and it's divided by 0.4, so that's 0.575 in here. Basically, if you look at it now, we're probably gonna just have to calculate. It's gonna be 0.6. This is gonna be 0.785, I think. No, 725. But I'll just do the calculations because I don't want to mess it up. It's a complex face, and I don't wanna look like a complete tool at the end. So we're at vertex number 6, which is this one. Next time I'll probably put in notes the vertex number. But anyway, yeah. So we are already moved by 28 centimeters. So that's 0.28/0.4. That's 0.7 in here. Okay. Looks legit. 0.985. We can just mirror this one, because we're at 0.68 again. We can just mirror that one. It's the same height. It's vertex number 7 now, and that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This one, so it's 35 centimeters already, and the result should be obvious now. Yeah, it's 0.875. Good, and we can mirror 0.94 in here. Cool. Now, this is where we get to width number 1, because the vertex number 8 is actually this corner right here. So we're at width number 1 already. And in terms of height, we are at 0.87 because it's at the same height as this one. And the last vertex is gonna be the easiest one, along with the first one, obviously. So this is vertex number 9, and it's 1 in width and 1 in height. Okay. Good. Now let's see if we've done well. And we haven't done particularly well. We have messed something up. Even though that's strange. Oh yeah, I know what's wrong. I know what's wrong. Just by looking at it, obviously we are not going towards 0. We just messed it up here. We have to go 1, 8, 7, and we have to go towards 0 in these corners, not towards 1. So let me quickly recalculate. I'll get back to you to show you where the mistake was. And as I said, the mistake is quite obvious because we have to go from 1 in the height towards 0. So actually this result right here is not the final result. It's just something that it's just the output that you have to subtract from 0 to have the correct result. So 1 minus 0.87 is 0.13. 1 minus 0.94 is 0.06. And 1 minus 0.985 is 0.015. Because obviously we've got 1 in height here and 0 in height here, and that's what we have to aim for. I mean, I have already saved the object in the correct state. As you can see, the texture's now there properly. It looks alright. I'll probably just do a little bit of... I'll just put a little bit of dirt here because it doesn't seem correct usually. the top of such object is a little bit dirty or black from the water and sun and whatnot. But to explain, we are doing the percentage. So 0.05 compared to 0.04. Let's just open the calculator again. This is like 12.5% in the height, and obviously in the width, if we go 0.6 slash 0.69, it's like 87%. It's 87% of the height is taken. It's not what we have to use, but that's already taken. So we have to apply 0.13 to match it to 1, if you understand. Anyway, the object is now correct. We do have a milestone ready and set up for our route. We have to assign the numbers next. We have to take a look at the lighting of the object to take care of the normals. And we will go from there. So I'll see you in the next video. Or we'll probably take a look at the normals, just some basic stuff to make sure you don't miss too much. As you can see, it's not even like visible too much here, but you can notice there's a difference in those two places. It's nothing major though. Alright, so that's the texturing. I hope a little bit explained and clear to you, and see you next time.